Commissioner Decker? Hill?
Here.
Mingus? Sutherland?
Here.
Mayor Call?
Here.
All present except Commissioners Decker and
Very-
Mingus, Your Honor.
Very good. Please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the pledge.
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, thank you for this day that you've given us to conduct the city's business. We give thanks for the warm and sunny days that we've been longing for after a very long and wet spring. As our temperatures rise to very warm and humid conditions coming in the next few days, please watch over those that are more vulnerable and those that have to work outside in this kind of weather. Heavenly Father, Independence Day passed since our last meeting, and we ask that you look over and protect those women and men that fight and protect daily our freedom. And always we give thanks. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty. Approval of the minutes, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move that on the regular meeting held on July 2nd and the minutes of the closed meeting executive session held on July 2nd be approved as printed.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Very good. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill?
Here, yes.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
Of all present voting, aye, Your Honor.
Very good. Thank you. Under communications, I have a proclamation to read. Whereas 69 years ago, the communist invasion of the Republic of Korea summoned a generation of Americans to serve. Whereas upon the 66th anniversary of the military armistice agreement, we honor all who served in the Korean War, and we pay lasting tribute to the brave men and women who gave their lives for our nation. Whereas through the 3 years of combat, American service members and allied forces overcame some of the most unforgiving conditions in modern warfare. They weathered bitter winters and punishing heat. They fought on the courage and distinction often outgunned and outmanned. Whereas we honor the tens of thousands of Americans who gave their lives defending a country they had never known and a people they had never met. Their legacy lives on not only in the hearts of the American people, but in a Republic of Korea that is free and prosperous, an alliance that is stronger than ever before, and a world that is safer for their service. Whereas shortly after the military armistice agreement was signed, President Dwight D. Eisenhower noted that with special feelings of sorrow and of solemn gratitude, we think of those who were called upon to lay down their lives in that far-off land to prove once again that only courage and sacrifice can keep freedom alive upon the earth. Whereas 6 decades later, we renew the call to honor and reflect. Now and forever, let us keep our faith with our Korean War veterans by upholding the ideals they fought to protect and by supporting them with the care and respect they so deeply deserve. Now, therefore, I, John P. Call, Mayor of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, do hereby proclaim July 27, 2019 as National Korean War Veterans Armistice Day. I call upon all citizens to observe this day that honors our distinguished Korean War veterans. And I personally thank them very much for their service to our country and some of the most noble people that you'll ever meet. And that's all we have under communications. Anyone in the audience care to speak to the council on any matters regarding agenda items? Please come forward. Seeing no one. Very good. With that, Commissioner Hill.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, tonight.
Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt, but before we begin, obviously we're light 2 council members this evening, so Commissioner Hill will be covering Commissioner Decker's agenda items, and we will be polling for the record 2 items that require one requiring 3/4 of a majority vote, which is ordinance number 4444. That is in regards to the donation of the 2 properties on Cherry Lane to the Habitat. We'll bring that back at our next meeting. And Resolution number 1920-028, which is the purchase of a new mini excavator. That will also be brought back at our next meeting. So, sorry about that, Commissioner Hill.
No problem. Okay. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, the claims as listed on Schedule Number 5 be allowed. Mr. Mayor, I move that the clerk is hereby authorized and directed to issue orders on the treasurer for the various amounts totaling $1,819,540.50, and the schedule of bills be hereby adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Since I'm the only one that can second.
Thank you, Commissioner Sutherland.
Very good. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Sutherland,
Yes.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Aye. I want to change mine to aye.
Thank you. Very good.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I move that ordinance number 4448 hereto attached, an ordinance authorizing a special use for the property located at 316th Street in the city of East Peoria, Tazewell County, Illinois, be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Sutherland.
This is we've got several cases tonight coming from the Zoning Board of Appeals. This is, the petitioner went through the ZBA. The ZBA determined upon review that the building of this shop or pole barn met the requirements as needed. And so that's what this case is for, a 30 by 28 pole barn that's going to be used to store materials that are also on the property. They had constraints of falling by the setbacks, color consistent with the home, driveway paved or gravel, and stored items in or around the outdoor area is stored inside the structure.
Very good. Any other comments from the council?
No.
Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I move that ordinance number 4449 hereto attached, an ordinance authorizing special use of property located at 526 High Point Lane, in the city of East Peoria, Tazewell County, Illinois, be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
This is somewhat a renewal of a property. The previous J.K. Williams Distillery up on High Point Lane was used, and it's going to be reopened and used for the similar operation. It's going to make, and it has a license to sell out of that. And I don't think, let's see, if I had anything else, the bad thing is that they may be moving in the future to Peoria, but this is a similar, or it's the same property as previously been allowed for that distillery. So that's all.
Ty, do you have any additional comments other than that? Just, I know you spoke to the gentleman.
Well, so we're hopeful that he finds some use for the facility, but their intent is to be in the warehouse district, understandably. We'll see what happens, but there is, as we understood it, there is still quite a bit of materials that are still there on premise. So he's going to begin bottling what's there, and the only thing that triggered the renewal is because he had not been in operation for the past year.
Very good, thank you. Any other comments from the council? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye,
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I move that ordinance number 4450 hereto attached, an ordinance authorizing further amendment to conditions imposed on the special uses previously granted for the property at 1109 East Washington Street in the city of East Peoria, be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Very good.
This property is adjacent to Intag Motorsports, and it was a car lot and auto repair. And now this special use is being amended because before they rented U-Haul vehicles out of this property. And the intended use now will be rental, U-Haul rental, as well as, I think it's Big Daddy cab and the maintenance of those vehicles. And let's see, trying to remember if there was a third piece. Was there a third piece to that, Ty, as far as coming out of that property?
Just the U-Haul rentals, vehicle sales, and then the maintenance of the.
Still vehicle
taxi
sales.
fleet.
So the limit on this was 10 vehicles, rent or sale, according to my notes on this particular case. So, I did receive a call that was concerned that I think the address either on the sign or some communication was 1107, which put it at Intag, and the person was calling was adjacent to that and thought they don't have enough parking as it was, and so they were in agreement once I explained it was for the property next door.
The address was incorrect. It's 1109, and the limit that's been placed on the property now is about half as much as what was permitted in the previous special use, so it should be sufficient as far as being able to accommodate that many vehicles.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional comments from the council? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I move that ordinance number 4447 hereto attached, an ordinance amending the City of East Peoria Personnel Policy Manual, be accepted on its first reading as read by title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
This adjustment to the personnel policy comes as, there were many people that I've talked to in the community that believed residency requirement for city employees was a must or was heavily supported. So this adjustment to the personnel policy manual is just that. It's a residency requirement for any new employee after July 1st, 2019, excluding those employees that are represented by represented labor, but any new employee will be required to live within the city or within a 1.5 mile of the corporate limits. That's it.
All I can say is ditto. I totally agree.
Yeah, and this was something that, was being asked of the employees, and it's something that was important to the new council heading into this, that the city set the example by doing this. So I think it's the right course of action, and of course, it doesn't affect any current employees. This is just applicable to any new hires hired after January 30th of this year. So I believe that's it for the comments. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Very good, thank you.
Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that Resolution 1920-035 hereto attached, a resolution approving Eastport Marina lease of laundry room service owned by the city to Omega 9 LLC be approved, and that this resolution, number 1920-035, be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you.
This is a space, as the resolution talks about, it's a space down at the Eastport Marina that at one time was used for laundry, and it no longer is used for for that purpose, and the city has no use for that space. And so we are going to lease it to the organization Omega 9 for about $1,800 a year and put the space back to good use.
Yeah, this will be used for the kitchen space for that new establishment down there. Ty, do you have any additional comments on that? None? Any comments for you, Commissioner Sutherland?
No.
No? Hearing none. Okay. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Very good, thank you. And that's going to be it for you.
Nope, okay, that one's on hold.
Yep. We'll hang on to that one. And then you have Commissioner Decker's. Is it okay if we do Commissioner Decker's now, or
I
would
think it
you?
was in line with the agenda.
Okay,
That
that's
was the
fine.
next thing on the agenda.
Go ahead.
Okay. Unless Mike wants to read them.
I don't like to read.
Commissioner Sutherland. All right. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 1920-029 hereto attached, resolution authorizing the purchase of a 2020 International HV 507 plow truck chassis from the Center State International Trucks, Inc., and authorizing the equipping of the said plow truck with a Monroe stainless steel dump body, plow, and mid-mount plow from Monroe Truck Equipment for the Department of Public Works in the total amount of $171,350, and hereby approved that the resolution number 1920-029, having been read once by its title and having laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection, be adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you.
This is the, it was presented at the last meeting. Mr. Decker presented it and then talked about, and Dennis also included some reasons for this plow truck is used more than a plow, but there's some description of a mid-plow, and it's being used for the wider streets, and it's much needed, and this is the first time we're trying to get back to replacing plows or plow trucks used for plowing on a regular basis. Dennis, do you have anything to add?
No, except that we did request 2 separate bids for chassis as well as 2 separate bids for upfitting, and then we took the lowest of both of those to meet the needs of what we had, so.
Okay, thank you.
And this was approved during the budget process, so. Any other comments from the council?
No.
Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I have one more item, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that Resolution 1920-036, hereto attached, a resolution approving an agreement with the Illinois Commerce Commission for improvement of the Norfolk Southern Railway crossing at Carver Lane be approved, and that the resolution number 1920-36 be accepted on its first reading as read by the title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you.
Now, I'm going to just say briefly, this is about a improvement to the railroad crossing, and I'm going to defer the details to Dennis.
This was approached as a railway signal crossing improvement, and when they were doing the review for that required improvement, they discovered that we had some entrances that did not meet the railway code. So we worked with the Commerce Commission as well as the railroad company to be able to come to an agreement, which is what this agreement is, which is us to spend the money to make those improvements and then be reimbursed on the back end through a grant from them to be able to do it. So it ended up being a win-win for the city because we were able to get the work done, get things brought up to the needed requirements, but yet we didn't have to outlay any of our budget to get there.
Very good. Thank you, Dennis.
Any other comments?
Yeah, this is the one where that semi got hit 2 or 3 years ago, correct? Because it didn't have any arms over there behind Devonte's?
Yes.
It is that intersection.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of that particular incident, though.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you, Dennis. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
That is all for me, Mr. Mayor.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Sutherland.
I got a bunch of stuff. Mr. Mayor, I move that ordinance number 4446, hereto attached, an ordinance amending ordinance number 4411 and authorizing the City of East Peoria, Tazewell County, Illinois, to borrow funds in an amount not to exceed $66 million from the Water Pollution Control Loan Program for the city sanitary sewer system upgrade project. Having been read once by its title and having laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection, be adopted as presented. I'd like to ask for a second, right?
Yep, may have a second.
Second.
Commissioner Hill, thank you.
I would like to ask Dennis to expound on this. I think it has to do with the fourth leg of this that's now in movement.
Yeah, that is correct. This project was bid in 4 phases, A, B, C, and D. A, B, and C were bid initially together. We've already went down this path, hence it's an update to Ordinance 4411. We used the engineer's estimate to request our loan funding amount. After receiving the bids for parts A, B, and C, they come in higher than the original engineer's estimate, so therefore we've got to bump up our loan borrowing ordinance to allow us to continue on with Phase D that's currently sitting at the IEPA for approval, which will come directly at the end of Phase A. Overall, this doesn't change anything as far as our funding mechanism. It's just the ordinance is just designed to be able to allow us to borrow additional funding on that to make sure we can meet all 4 parts.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis. Any other
Well,
comments?
I wasn't here when all this happened, and I understand that the structure is like this, that the increases in the sewer and the water are already taking place, and they're already set, so this is the way it's going to be, correct? I mean, there's no surprises around the corner on the funding or nothing, I take it?
That is correct. The same original spreadsheet that we utilized to secure the original funding, these changes don't affect anything, any difference in what we already put into play for the sewer rates through the sewer capital charge. So that question's already been asked today as well. Somebody asked, well, does this new loan amount affect the sewer capital charge? And the answer is no. Our spreadsheet still showed that we remained positive throughout the entire loan repayment process. And that was the key, was to make sure that the city is collecting enough money to make those loan payments. So even though we've had to bump this up, like I think about $12 million, the money was there as you finance that over 20 years to make sure that the city cannot afford to repay the loan.
And I will say that the original loan for the first 3 phases came in at a much lower percentage rate than what we're anticipating with the IEPA, so there were some savings there, even though this is painful.
You mean our interest?
Yeah, which is painful in itself, but it is a necessary evil, so. Yep. Hearing no other comments, roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Very good, thank you.
My next thing up, be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 1920-032, hereto attached.
Hey, Mike.
Oh, we skipped
Mike,
3-1.
you're on this one.
Oh, shit.
Sorry. Oh. Pardon his French.
You're right. Okay, here we go. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 1920-031, hereto attached a resolution approving the agreement between the City of East Peoria and the Teamsters Local Union number 627 for the Department of Public Works for a 3-year term commencing July 1st, 2019, and terminating June 30th, 2022 be approved, and that this resolution number 1920-031 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill.
I was involved with the negotiations. Everybody worked really hard. I'm proud of everybody. That's it.
Dennis, would you like to expound on any parts of the agreement? Or?
We did meet several times as the council was changing through this process, and Commissioner Sutherland came in and attended the majority of the second half of the meetings after we'd kind of had the first ball rolling. It's been a long, what I think is a somewhat long process to get there. Obviously, with this starting several weeks ago, in essence, it's good to see that we're one of the first ones that's getting through this process, and we did have an agreement, and we're on the right track for another 3 years. Improvements on both sides, in my opinion, so.
Yeah. Commissioner Hill?
Yeah, I'd just like to say hats off to Dennis and Mike, Commissioner Sutherland, for getting this done. I'm glad that the city and the employees in Public Works could come together and agree on this. So, thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the parties involved because quite honestly, I think they were amicable. And I know you seem to think they took a long time. I was pleasantly surprised at how brief they were. This contract does represent a 3-year term, as the Commissioner stated, July 1 of this year through June 30th of 2022. Just some points. It's represented a 1.75 increase each of those 3 years, and there is a residency clause. Hence, we kind of set the example on the city side because we're asking the same thing of them, which they agreed to. So I personally just want to say I greatly appreciate the Teamsters. I appreciate Dennis Triggs, Dennis Barron, and Commissioner Sutherland. Hats off to all the parties for this agreement. So thank you. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to get to read the one that I was reading a minute ago. Be it resolved by the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that Resolution 1920-032, hereto attached, a resolution authorizing the payment of an invoice from Armature Motor and Pump Company, Inc., for emergency Route 8 wastewater lift station pump repair in the amount of $13,783.43 be approved. And that this resolution number 1920-032 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I'm going to pass this one off to Dennis Barron also, please.
This particular pumping station is down on Route 8, just a little bit ways from Public Works. There's 2 actually pump motors in here. Last year, we lost one of those. It quit working. We approached the EPA and explained to them that with this new upgrade, we were going to have to be replacing both of those as part of this process, so they were agreeable to allow us to run on 1 pump motor. The problem arose earlier this spring when that pump motor died, which left us with none. So we didn't have any choice, unfortunately, but to repair one, get it back in the ground so that we can continue to do operations, even knowing that these are all going to be replaced. This is kind of a necessary evil to avoid outflows into creeks and things like that. So it was an emergency basis that we had to actually do this. We'd made a decision not to spend it. You know, the unfortunate happened that we lost the other one, so that's where we're at.
This is, I never showed up to this. I've been trying to show up a little bit and take a peek what's going on, and I never made it to this one, but I heard it was a deep one. And those are the scary ones.
There's a lot of stairs in that building.
Any other comments from the council? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay, here we go. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 1920-003 hereto attached, a resolution approving a proposal from Hare Construction, Inc. to slip line sanitary sewer main from Coventry Lane to Oakwood Road, 940 lineal feet, and from West Autumn Lane to Route 8, 180 lineal feet, in the amount of $38,632 be approved, and that this resolution number 1920-033 be accepted on its first reading, as read by its title, and laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I'm going to turn this over to Dennis also, and I just want to let everybody know that I am not an advocate or proponent of slip lining. To me, they have no really long-term viable thing in residential areas, but this slip lining goes through the woods and down hills to where there's no houses being attached to it with their laterals, and which means we're not making the homeowner fix the problems on their own. I think this is a good price, and it's going to be a hard job because it's in the middle of the woods.
Dennis?
Yeah, this was bid between both of our local vendors. They were very tight between the two bids. Hair Construction did win that. This was part of where we had an emergency overflow going on, where we had to bring in a crew after hours and some equipment because of not being able to get the blockage freed up. So this will help solve that so that we don't have to do that again as well as part of this process.
This is also one of the reasons why we went and bought that little machine, because we got stuck not being able to fix our own problems.
Exactly. We had to rent it as an emergency basis because we didn't have that.
Right.
Correct.
Very good, thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none. Roll call?
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay, I got two more. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 1920-034, hereto attached, a resolution approving the cleaning and rehabilitation of water well number 17 by, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name, Well and Pump, Inc., in the amount of $28,187 be approved, and that this resolution number 1920-034 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection. Who wants to give that name a shot?
It's Broadkey.
Rocky.
Exactly, Brockie Well. This was part of our routine, started out as part of our routine maintenance program that is budgeted. We usually try to budget to do 2 wells. When we bid that, we had our 3 bids. Brockie was the lowest, so we engaged them to begin this process. As they got in, they found a little worse for wear, so it kind of jumped the price up to be able to only do 1 routine well maintenance this year as opposed to 2. The budget line we do have for that on a yearly basis is $30,000, so you see this barely comes in under that. They found some additional work that they needed to do to make sure that we were able to sustain the water flow. When we put it all back together, we can actually increase our gallons per minute coming out of this. That had dropped about 40% over the last few years, and they expect that this will help rejuvenate that back together.
Yeah, this is one of the jobs that I went out on watch the guys. I even took some pretty good pictures, I think. Those guys are very, very professional. There was a couple of them that showed up. They did a great job. And you're right, the pipe was rotted through, the pump was barely running, and they took everything back to, they were from out of town. They had to drive quite a while to get here. And they took everything back and patched it back together and rebuilt, and hopefully, I think we're getting a new pump out of this one, right?
Yeah, I believe we're getting a new pump and a new motor, both,
And they're
and the new column pipe as well.
And I
So-
think we're going to try to rebuild this
believe
motor
so.
eventually where we have a backup,
Right.
correct?
I think the motor was still okay. The issue is it was several years old. Do you take the chance and put it all back together and hope you're going to have to, or you're going to, how long is it going to last before you have to do this again? So I think we kind of talked about that and discussed that we would try to have the motor rebuilt and have it ready as a spare in case we needed it for something else. So maybe in an emergency situation, we could save a few dollars as we moved ahead.
Yeah, in that line of work, that's only the right thing to do when you're pulling something that deep. Makes perfect sense.
I second that.
Yep. Very good. Any other comments? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Last one. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 1920-38, hereto attached, a resolution authorizing the payment of an invoice from Broadkey and Well and Pump, Inc. for water well number 8 emergency motor replacement in the amount of $10,601.25 be approved, and that this resolution number 1920-038 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Mr. Dennis?
This was the phone call I didn't want to have to handle on a vacation, but I got a phone call saying one of our wells that we primarily run was having a motor failure, and the motor was showing grounded, which means we had no other, nothing else we could do other than pull the motor and find out what we had going on. So I let the commissioner know what was going on. We've made the decision, since Brotke had competitively bid and had actually won the bids on all the rest of them, that they were the company to kind of go to on this emergency basis, since they'd already shown to us that they were going to beat the competitors. So this was an emergency scenario. They come out, they did find a bad motor. We replaced it with a new motor, and they got it all put back together before, and everything tested out fine before I even made it back from vacation. So this was a very fast turnaround and a very quick response by Brotke to get here, get it pulled, get it put back together, and get it ready to roll again in a very short time frame.
Very good. Any other comments? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Very good, thank you. Any public comment from any members in the audience care to comment to the council on any non-agenda items? Please come forward. Hearing none. Quiet crowd tonight. Very good. Comments from the council. Commissioner Hill?
Just be careful out there as the heat goes up, the humidity goes up. And that's really all I have.
Very good. Commissioner Sutherland?
No, I've already talked too much tonight.
Okay. Hey, very good. I won't have too much to say other than ICC, some big news hit the airwaves today. They were awarded a $3 million grant from the Economic Development Administration. That was announced by the U.S. Department of Commerce. And this grant is to support the development of its new Workforce Sustainability Center. And those $3 million will be matched with $6 million in state and local funds, and is expected to retain 2,160 jobs. So that's kind of big news, and hats off to Dr. Quirk Bailey. She's been very aggressive and very proactive in reaching out and trying to do everything they can as far as the workforce training to keep jobs locally. So hats off to her. I think this is a very good thing for ICC in this region, so that's excellent news today. And then I'd personally like to thank the 4th of July, all the employees that were involved. We went another year, another safe year that went off without a hitch, no major hiccups, but thank police and fire, public works, Doug, you and all your staff. People worked very, very hard, and I know that goes unrecognized at times, but not from these seats. We greatly appreciate everything you did, and I think the show was another success. So that is all I have. I seek a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adjourn until Tuesday evening, August 6th, 2019 at 6 p.m.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Very good. Until we meet again, thank you.